In a land of splendor and prosperity, there ruled a wise and just king. His kingdom thrived under his careful guidance, and the people loved him for his fairness. By his side stood his minister, a man the king trusted above all. But unknown to the king, this very minister, though smiling on the outside, had a heart filled with greed. In the shadows of the palace, the minister grew wealthy through secret taxes, while the king remained unaware of the injustice unfolding in his own kingdom. The king, thinking he had the perfect ally in the minister, often asked for his advice. "My king," the minister would say with a sly smile, "leave the matters of the commoners to me. Focus on the grander vision of the kingdom." And so, the king remained focused on noble pursuits, while the minister's corruption spread deeper into the kingdom's veins. One day, the king began hearing troubling whispers. There were rumors of unjust taxes, farms abandoned by starving peasants, and prisons filled with innocent men. At first, the king dismissed these as mere rumors, too fantastical to be true in his prosperous kingdom. But as the days passed, the whispers grew louder and more persistent, gnawing at the king's sense of justice. One afternoon, the king overheard two palace servants talking in hushed tones. "If only the king knew what the minister is doing," one said fearfully. "The poor are being crushed under the weight of his taxes." The king's heart skipped a beat. Could it be true? Had his most trusted minister betrayed him? Unwilling to believe the worst without seeing for himself, the king disguised himself as a commoner. Dressed in simple clothes, he ventured out into the kingdom he once believed was thriving. The bustling marketplace, once a symbol of prosperity, now revealed a different truth. The king heard vendors whisper about oppressive taxes and farmers lament their ruined crops. The people were suffering, and the king could hardly believe what he was hearing. As the king wandered deeper into the market, he saw a group of soldiers seizing a poor farmer's goods. "These taxes must be paid," they declared, taking the last of the man's grain. The farmer fell to his knees begging, but the soldiers walked away without mercy. In that moment, the king's heart broke. He knew now that the rumors were true. His kingdom was being destroyed from within. Later that day, the king arrived in a small village where he met a humble farmer. Though his clothes were tattered, the farmer held his head high as he spoke. "The minister's men come every month, taking whatever we have left," the farmer explained. "We are forced to pay more than we can afford, and those who refuse are thrown in prison." The king, dressed as a commoner, listened quietly, feeling a deep shame. This was the kingdom he thought he ruled with fairness. "We have sent letters to the palace, hoping the king would hear our cries," the farmer continued, "but none of us ever receive a response." The king now understood. It wasn't just the taxes. The minister had been blocking all attempts to reach him, leaving him blind to his people's suffering. The king returned to the palace, but this time with clarity. He summoned a grand council, inviting all the royal court and calling the minister to attend. The minister, proud and confident, arrived in grand robes, unaware that his secret was about to be revealed. The court fell silent as the king rose to speak. "I have walked among my people," the king declared. "I have seen the suffering, the injustice, and the cruelty that has been carried out in my name." He held up the evidence. The taxes collected far exceeded what was lawful, and letters from the people had been intercepted by the minister's men. The minister's face turned pale as the court gasped in disbelief. Desperate, the minister tried to deny the accusations. "These are lies, my king," he stammered. But the king, prepared, brought the humble farmer to the court. The farmer stepped forward, recounting the minister's cruel actions, his voice steady but filled with emotion. The minister's lies crumbled before everyone's eyes. "You have betrayed me and my people," the king said, his voice filled with disappointment. "For that, you will be stripped of your power and banished from this kingdom." The minister, now trembling, fell to his knees, begging for mercy. But the king's decision was final. The court watched as the once powerful man was led away in shame. With the minister gone, the king turned to the humble farmer who had helped expose the corruption. "You, with your wisdom and honesty, shall be my new advisor," the king declared. And so the farmer, once a poor man in a forgotten village, rose to a place of honor beside the king. Together they ruled the kingdom with fairness and compassion, and soon justice was restored to the land. The people rejoiced as the king's new advisor brought fairness back to the kingdom. No longer did the poor suffer in silence. The farmer's wisdom spread far and wide, and under his guidance the kingdom entered a new era of prosperity. The king had learned that true wisdom often came from the humblest of places, and so the wise king learned the value of humility and trust. For it was not the powerful minister who had helped him rule justly, but the simple farmer who had shown him the truth. Together they brought peace and prosperity to the land, and the kingdom thrived once more. Thank you for joining us on this meaningful tale. If there is a favorite moral story you want us to share with the world, please tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back to Story Genie World for more stories filled with wisdom and wonder. And remember, honesty brings about goodness, and it's never too late to right a wrong.